Welcome to NewsBeast. Our Obsessional today is going to be Newt, the whole country obsessing on Newt, because tragically we can't obsess anymore on Herman Cain. But what we're buzzing about here is a breakfast we just came from at Tina Brown's lovely apartment, and it was with Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, Angelina came for breakfast, and she really was incredibly impressive, I have to say. I mean, you know, she has this wonderful kind of radiant sincerity about her, and this sort of sweetness that is really blows you away. You keep looking for the kind of the fallacious moment, but there isn't one.
Well, I was impressed when you asked her about the badass phase of her movie career and how she became this humanitarian and ambassador for the United Nations, and she was very touching, and not only talking about her new movie about Bosnia, but about the emotional impact that this had on her in making the movie with people in the region, and also when she goes and visits refugees in Libya or other trouble spots around the world.
Of course, the real thing that we wanted to know, and I was able to ask her, was just what happens on Parent-Teacher Day when you have 6 kids. I mean, this is the thing that we all
Only
just
a mom
want to
would
know.
ask that.
Well, I asked it on behalf of every woman in the room, and she was actually very funny about that and saying that Brad always stays home with the kids, and you know that this morning she was woken up because her youngest wanted to go to the bathroom, and she was thinking it's too early to wake up.
The exact quote was, he peed.
He peed at 3 a.m. I know, and it was a sort of a wonderful little moment where you saw the insight into this incredible household of Angie Inc. and Brad Inc.
Right, and the way they switch off. One of them goes off film, the other one stays home with the kids because Brangelina is such a world brand. It's interesting to get a peek.
But they are totally nomadic. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Nomadic. Yeah, it is. But they also they seem to have it really well organized. I mean, the great thing about her, it seems to me, is that she's an incredible kind of CEO of Brangelina Inc. I mean, she is able to kind of organize it so these kids are getting an education, yet move around with them, yet have tutors, yet seem to be, you know, from all accounts, you know, very kind of nurtured, you know, regular kids. It's really quite remarkable.
Well, I'm going to make an executive decision here to blow off the cheat sheet because I want to get to this Obsessional, because I think we have to acknowledge that 6 months ago, every journalist drawing a paycheck said, well, Newt Gingrich, he's dead, he's toast, he's not going to be the nominee, he's not even going to be a serious contender. Why? Because he's this history professor with a grandiose view of himself, and now we know he's taken nearly $2 million from Freddie Mac, and yet here he is at the top of the polls in Iowa and other states. What accounts for this?
Well, I think it started out as, you know, anybody but Obama, and now it's become anybody but Romney. You know, the more you see Romney, there was this great line where he, in the Times Magazine piece this weekend, where he was responding to his critics, and he said, you know, I've been very consistent, and the Times Magazine said, no, the only thing he's been consistent about is his inconsistency, or something to that effect. And the flip-flopping, we just don't get any sense that there's an authentic human being there, and so it's become anyone
since
but
the
him.
not-Mitt position has been taken up serially by Michelle Bachmann, by Rick Perry, by Herman Cain, and now by Newt Gingrich, do we have reason to believe that Gingrich is going to be different, that he is going to be, in fact, it's going to be a two-man race, or is he going to flame out like the rest of them?
Well, he always does flame out, which is what the fun and the tension of it is here. It's like, will Newt, you know, flame out, or will he manage to get, you know, through Iowa? Because the thing is that in the end, although this whole idea is that somehow, well, you can come second in Iowa and go into New Hampshire, actually, I think that's changed, because I think that now the volume and momentum of media is so intense that when you have that wind at your back, there is nothing like winning momentum. So if you don't win Iowa, you are definitely in a handicapped position. And I think that Romney is in a panic right now, because in a sense you saw this happening with Hillary and Obama. I mean, she was the accepted front runner, you know, she was going into Iowa, and then it all fell apart, and it never ever really, despite the various wins along the way, losing that momentum was a fatal blow for her.
This question of a two-man race, I mean, I actually think that this could turn out to be a three-man race, that we're going to wind up seeing a third-party candidate. This election is primed for it. If Jeff Bezos or Warren Buffett wants to be president, all hats are off. I mean,
but third-party candidates never win any states. But the interesting thing here is that Romney, who you say he's in a panic, clearly they're concerned about Gingrich. He's hiding from the press. Time magazine cover, he doesn't talk. New York Times magazine cover, he doesn't talk. He goes on Fox News, presumably a friendly forum with Brett Baer, and he ends up getting ticked off because he got asked a few tough questions.
This is an unusual interview. All right, let's do it again.
He needs to learn how to hit major league pitching.
Well, he thought that he could do this by hiding and just, you know, retrofitting the entire personality to the positions and so on. But as we find out, at a certain point, you know, you have to go and win as opposed to just not fail. And he's never really been able to achieve that. He doesn't go out and win.
Here's the thing about Gingrich. We, journalists who followed his career, people like me who've lived in Washington, feel like there's so much baggage that he carries that when voters focus on that, he's never going to fall. But I think voters are giving him a break. They know all his sins, and they think he's an interesting character.
We can't finish this conversation without talking about the fact that Gingrich is in New York today trying to get Trump's endorsement, and that there have been rumors that Kaine is going to endorse him, although our reporting shows that that's probably not going to happen today.
Thank you, Susie. I do think Kaine will definitely endorse Newt Gingrich. I don't think that matters a whole hell of a lot. I don't think it matters what happens today or next week. The Trump factor here, now that Donald wants to moderate a debate 2 days after Christmas, this guy cannot seem to get off the stage.
Well, also, it's just part of this grotesque, reality show that goes on and on. I mean, I think Trump entering the lists at this point just makes it even more ridiculous, and I think it's another piece of good news for Obama.
Yeah.
Well, this reality show could go on and on, but it's time for the final word on what we're talking about. Newt Gingrich, your turn.
Unbelievable.
Ultimately, toast.
Fundamentally transforming. Gingrich sees himself. I cheated, I used to, sorry. That's it for NewsBeast. We'll see you back here tomorrow.